Hey everybody, it's Amy Head with New Perspectives for Life in Marietta, Georgia, coming to you with our micro minute for today. We are doing these micro minute strategies for our mental health, our mental well-being, our perspective, our success, and all kinds of things every single day for the entire year. So today is January 11th, so this is day 11 of our micro minute strategy. And our strategy today is going to be something a little different. It's going to be about one of our nonverbal communications, one of our nonverbal forms of communication, and that is our facial expressions. So this may not seem like a big deal when you first think, what in the world are we going to do for a minute for our strategy to improve our mental health or our success or different things? Well, our first impression or our general impression or our communication impression often is rooted in this right here, how we look, how our eyes look, how our smile or frown looks, how our energy looks. So today our micro minute strategy is on smiling, which may sound kind of weird, especially when we get to the strategy. It's going to probably feel pretty awkward, but I challenge you to try it anyway and then leave some comments below on how it went. But we want to talk about this really quickly because you may have heard some statistics over the years, like it takes more muscle to frown than smile. There's a debate about that. If you go research it, you're going to find information that confirms that myth or debunks that myth. So it really doesn't matter either way. One thing we do know is it does take muscles to do both. But one thing that you may not be aware of is the calorie burn. So if you look this up, and if you find anything that disputes this, let me know for sure. But if you look this up, you'll find a difference in the calorie burn, if you can believe it, from frown to smile. Frowning, the research shows, doesn't really burn any calories. If it does, it's very minimal, maybe not even 1 calorie in like a 15-second time frame. So hardly anything. But smiling can burn up to 5 times that of frowning. Now, is that very much? Not really, but we're talking potentially 5 calories can be burned in a 15-second smile. So if you're trying to burn some extra calories, that's a good benefit of smiling. You could literally take your micro minute if you wanted to and just smile for the minute, and then you could burn, 15, 20 calories, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty good, right? But we want to do something a little more with our micro minute and a little more with our conditioning of our facial expression toward smile. But something else that's important is it does take extra effort to smile. Think about this. If somebody's going to take your picture, what do they usually say right before they take it? They usually say something to get you to intentionally uplift your expression and smile. They might say smile, or they might say cheese, or something like that. And when we say it, it's an intentional connection between the brain and the word and the body to get us to elevate that facial expression, which tells us that potentially our natural expression for the majority of us is neutral to frown, because we don't say, okay, give me your neutral face, because that inherently has the smile. We have to remind people, okay, smile when it's time to take a picture. So all of this is to say that our mood, whether we realize it or not, can be elevated or diminished by our facial expression. We're not even talking about how the impression it leaves with others or when we're interacting with other people, but just our relationship to ourselves. So this is where smiling can actually elevate our energy, our mood, our serotonin, all those feel-good chemicals, and it can do a lot of good for our mental health. So our micro minute strategy for today, and I said earlier this is going to potentially be very awkward, is for you to set your timer for 1 minute and get in front of a mirror for that minute, and I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and just smile for the entire minute. You can change some of your energy in your eyes, your eyebrows lifted or maybe more neutral, but smile for the entire minute. Probably it's going to get a little sore right through the cheeks because we're not used to smiling for an entire minute nonstop. Probably it's going to feel awkward because a lot of us don't like to look at ourselves in the mirror for any length of time. Some of us may have some dental issues, and so we don't really want to see that for a minute. We try maybe to avoid it anyway. So there is one thing you could do if that is an issue with just being able to see some of the dental issues, is just smile with the lips closed but still elevated, kind of like a grin, because it still does the same kinds of things and it will still burn those few calories. So if you do this for a minute, you're going to burn 15 to 20 calories. You're going to elevate your mood. You're going to elevate your disposition, and you're actually going to condition the facial expressions to maybe go into a smile mode a little more naturally. Think about who you like to approach. Think about the people, like if you're in a group or if you're at work or in your family or if you're out and about, you would probably tend to approach someone who looks more approachable. And a lot of times that approachability is shown in the facial expressions. So this is twofold. One is sort of in our interactions. This can help us with our interactions, but mostly within our own self, just our relationship to ourself, to our mindset, to our elevated mood, and to burning some of those calories. Your micro minute for today is to reset that facial expression from frown or neutral to smile. All right, guys, that's our micro minute for today when we're thinking about our January reset month. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you tomorrow.